Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Man Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then come back here and talk about it. And today is the first time we're going to be talking about an anime called BNA, Brand New Animal, and we're going to talk about the first 4 episodes. Next week, the next 4, next week, the next 4, and then we rank the anime. We have done so many anime in all of these episodes, but these are the ones for season 3. We've gotten some S's, some A's, a B, nothing lower than that. So we'll see how BNA stacks up at the end when we're done with the only season that's out, and then pick a brand new anime. If you want to get one of your favorite anime, or one that maybe you don't like, who knows, into the list to be picked out randomly by Matt. You can do a $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch. $5 super chat on YouTube, give us the name of the anime, or 500 bits on Twitch. Hello, it's been a billion years. Hello, Meow Mix mom. Are you the mom of Meow Mix, or do you have? Anyways, I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
Hello, doing good. Doing good. Feeling a bit spoiled right now, to be honest.
What does
Feeling a bit
that mean?
spoiled by how much good stuff I got in my life with media right now, honestly.
Okay,
We have Claire Obscure that just recently came out. I've been playing a whole heck of that. Finished Act
so good.
1. Just go play it if you haven't yet and you're listening to this. Do both of us a favor. Go play it. I saw Sinners this week. That is like, I'm not even
Okay.
joking, contender for favorite movie of all time. Like for me,
Oh,
like it is on that level of quality, and I'm planning to go see it again a second time soon because man, oh man.
dang.
We've been watching so much good anime this season so far, and here we are walking into another one where so far it's like, man, I'm really liking this.
Okay,
So
that's
like
really
just
good to hear.
first impressions right off the bat, I do enjoy this story, even though it's such a such a trope that we've seen in recent media. Maybe Disney's Zootopia being the easiest example of like, oh, animals living in a city. What kind of stories can we tell there? But I like the kind of the little twist of a curveball that it throws on here, where it's animals who are also similar to people trying to live parallel to humanity that does also exist. And that now has opened up a new can of thematic concepts that can be
Worms.
dove into.
Yeah. I
So
yeah,
really
I
enjoying it so
agree.
far.
Yeah, definitely. There's some I don't even know if it's a trope because it's like hasn't been done a whole lot, but like once you see it done, it's like, oh, okay, that's the thing that they're going for. But it does give us enough to make it seem new. They give us some characters that you can sort of attach to if you really enjoy one or the other or any of them. But yeah, I am definitely excited to talk about it, and I do agree that there's a lot of good media out there because Claire Obscure is amazing. It's so good, so much fun to play. But let's get into it. Episode 1, Runaway Raccoon. What happens in episode 1?
Excuse me. We are introduced to a world where so-called beastmen live segregated from the rest of human society in a place called Anima City. We meet Kagamori en route to the city when she is attacked and saved by Itami, a mink who provides Kagamori safe passage into the city. Kagamori finds herself walking right into a festival celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the city's founding, and the mayor of the city appears to be engaged in some political intrigue with the prime minister. Kagamori's pocket gets picked before a jumbo screen comes crashing down, with Kagamori looking like the culprit. She points Ogami in the direction of the real culprit, with Kagamori needed to break up the ensuing one-sided fight, going on to reveal that she was once a human.
Oh my god.
Bum bum bum.
What? Um First off, the intro is super chill. The
I like the
music
intro.
consistently
Both
in the
the intro
show?
and the outro, I actually already had saved in my Spotify because at the time that this show came out, which was 2020, I was doing a lot of commuting, a lot of driving at that time. So I was constantly just like listening to new music. And sometimes I would just like be like, what's new with anime music? And the show's outro was like one of the top songs in
Oh, wow.
trending at that time. So I hit the music was hitting me and I was like, I've heard this before. I haven't watched the anime. What's going on? And I like open my Spotify and I'm like swiping through my J-pop section and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my god, there it is. There's the show. Oh,
that's funny.
nope.
Yeah, no, I had not heard the songs. They're all super chill,
Like the
vibey.
songs enough to the fact that they're already in my Spotify. So
Mhm. Um, Animation looks good on the anime so far. Like, okay, let's kind of judge it as if it was, the first episode, and we want to see if we want to go more further into it.
so like
Animation, the colors look amazing.
yes, animation wise, the quality of animation outright is good, above average, I would say. It's nothing that's blowing me out of the water so far. It is pretty fluid and nice when things are in motion, like her trying to save the old man from under the falling sign. Like that was like
Yeah,
entertaining, and there's a lot of motion, a lot of movement there. But like you said, it's really the color palette of this show.
yeah.
Like at least in this first episode, grab any shot and then do the whole here's a bunch of like colors picked out of this shot and line them up next to each other. And I really just enjoy how the show looks visually with its colors. It's constantly using them in interesting ways that I really find appealing to the eye,
It's more of
even
like a
if the animation's
pastel.
not blowing me out of the water. Yes.
Yeah, it's more pastel colors, and yeah, I agree. Where when things are moving, it's moving, but there's a little bit left to be desired on the animation, especially now that I've been watching a whole lot of anime because we watch the show, watch some episodes of anime every week now, and that's not how I used to consume it. Um, but you can once I see it, I can't unsee it. Like there's a lot of still shots that are just motion
Hmm.
to the thing, and it's like, okay, let's go. So it's not completely
You
like
can see the
a,
shortcuts,
yeah, a little bit of shortcuts, which I'm hopeful that that money goes somewhere
yeah.
else. Like, where's it gonna go? Is it
Which
there's like
I meant to
episodes?
check and didn't end up. Is if you know off your head, is
Yeah,
this an adaptation of an existing piece of media, or
there.
did Netflix make this brand new?
I didn't get that information, but I did get that it is a manga that's online, so not technically a webtoon, but not a physical manga. And I don't know if it was made before or after the show. But it does give me like webtoon vibes, like the way it looks. I mean, I know we saw Tower of God, and that had sort of the similar artistry a little bit in the characters, how they move, how they sort of look. So it's giving me some Tower of God vibes, but it's not technically a webtoon, I guess. But
Hmm.
it feels webtoon esque.
From the first result on my little quick Google search here, it's saying that there is a manga that exists, but the manga is not the anime is not based on the manga. The manga is a continuation or an adaptation of the anime.
Oh,
So we have a reversal here,
oh,
role reversal, where
yeah.
we now have an anime that exists with a manga built upon the anime being the foundation.
Well, that's
From
cool.
from what I'm reading, and if anybody's listening to this that can provide evidence that that is incorrect, please share.
Yeah. Let's get into the story a little bit.
Hmm.
We're thrown into this world as we usually are in the first episode of, okay, we have these things called beastmen. The regular humans do not like beastmen, and we can see that in the way they were hunting down our little raccoon here. And she is trying to go to the beastmen special zone
Nuki.
where animals can live. Yeah, that's why I said it. uh, where the Beastman Special Zone, where animals can live like normal. It's made by Sylvasta Pharmaceuticals. I'm sure. I mean, they've said it a couple times, and I'm sure this is a
Big
bigger
Pharma
plot.
is always the good guy.
Big Pharma. You know what? You know what they say always? To trust Big Pharma. That's what I hear everybody saying. Um, we get our little raccoon getting attacked on the way to Anima City. Girl saves her. Marie. Oh, you got to help me on some of the names because we don't have the subtitles on because the subtitles are different than what the English voice acting is saying. And that's been there's been a few anime
It's
that have done
Netflix.
that.
It's always
It's
Netflix,
always
especially.
Netflix. Yeah,
Crunchyroll is a lot better about it, but it still happens. But Netflix is especially
it's
egregious. And I did
completely
watch the
different.
first 2 episodes in Japanese, second 2 in English. I like the voice acting for either, so really, I think it's a take your pick type situation.
Yeah, we're watching it in English, and it, that's a real problem. I really dislike it because
Because of the subtitle
I'm
situation.
trying to follow the words that they're saying, and it's a completely different sentence underneath them, and it's like,
And it could be
well,
as simple as like there was the scene in an alleyway where Ogami shows up, and it's like the subtitles say, "Oh no, it's Ogami," but the voice actor says, "You must be Ogami," and it's
yeah,
just like it's just distracting enough to like kind of get on my nerves for sure.
yeah,
Where it's like
um,
you're kind of telling the story with a different context
yeah.
if you're
That
if
stuff
it's
does
literally
change.
different text on the screen compared to what the voice actor is saying, but
It's
it's similar enough to where the point is still being conveyed. I
But depending on the sentence, it could be something completely different. Like it
Yeah,
could change the feeling of something.
because "you
But
must be Ogami" implies that that guy had like never seen him before in his life. But "oh no, it's Ogami" gives the implication that there's a pre-existing relationship there. You know what I mean?
and that's
And
something
it's as simple as that.
It's something so small, yeah, like that, where it does change the context completely. So you gotta help me with the names. Marie Etone, who is the mink or
Yes,
the
I had
weasel.
her down as shoot.
Etone? Marie, I think.
Dang, I think it was Marie. I think
Okay.
I had her down as Marie. Why am I losing it?
She
The mink.
saves
I'm a
yeah,
mink.
the mink. Mink, really. She saves our little raccoon girl, and they're taking the ship to Anamaru, heading to the city. And it was really a little creepy. I thought, like, when she first arrived in the city, I was like, oh boy, like, what is this? This is kind of
Mhm,
like, and then she goes, and then the eyes
mhm.
are in the darkness.
Well,
I'm
that's the
like,
thing. Like, it's all
ooh,
dark. It's like I'm like, this is a city of animals. There's got to be like that. Where are the owls? Where are all the
where are the
nocturnal
night
animals? That's what
owls?
I started thinking about. Like, there's got to be nocturnal animals out. And then you see the wolf up, and I thought like, oh my god, there's like this whole thing of like everybody's scared to go out at night because the big bad wolf is going to get you, and that's where we're going with this. And then
Mhm.
like, oh, it's a festival, and I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm totally fine with her walking into the 10-year anniversary festival, but why did we set it up with like all of the eyes and everybody like coming out of the darkness like cult like? That was a
Yeah.
little bit
Because they were all
jarring.
just walking, and it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, what's going on? It was terrifying,
Yeah,
but
it
it
was
was like,
creepy.
what are we doing here? What's
What are we
going on?
doing? What's
Um,
what's all this about?
what's all this
What are you
about?
talking about?
So they're all partying. This place, Animal City, has been established 10 years ago, and it was the anniversary festival. We get our introduction a little bit to Ogami, the crying wolf here, saying that they waited for this festival for 1,000 years. That is interesting because instantly I'm like, and when she sees him and then she looks back and he's gone, I was like, oh, she just saw a ghost. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
this is like the ghost of Beastman's past that have been waiting for this to happen.
but no, he just vanishes.
Yeah,
Just
he's
the
just
guy that
super
does that.
fast.
It's there's a the super niche reference. There's a movie called Surf Ninjas that came out in like the late 80s or early 90s, and like the the mentor character does that. Like he keeps like showing up with like all of these mystical pieces of wisdom, like, oh,
Yeah,
you're actually royalty, and I need to take you back to, you know, the made up country that we're using for this movie.
yeah.
What's up with this guy, everybody? And he's gone the second they turn back. And it's just like it's just a bit that they run
Yeah.
with for the whole movie.
But we do get to see some more of his epic abilities. So there's this wolf guy. Well, first she gets her wallet stolen. That's a funny thing that plays into, I think, episode 3 later on. But my man, the crying wolf, can sense auras. Like the way it kind of set it up, like the
He's using
way
that snout.
it's smell, right? And I really like the personification of how dogs smell, or how, wolf or canine creature
Mhm.
can smell and figure things out that
The
way.
way he uses it, it gives it more of like a Batman using his detective vision in the
Yeah.
Arkham series, where it's like he's literally using it to like
He's
rewind time and relive through moments.
he's
So
got
I like
wall
the
hacks,
yeah.
like literally wall hacks. I was like, okay, he can sense aura, but then he's like, where was this person? I can smell where he was. Let me turn back time a little
Because
bit.
there's a lingering like residue of their scent from when they were there. So he can like piece out that. I think that's kind of like what the visuals are representing.
Seems a little OP, but I'll go
It's
with it.
pretty good. I mean, it does seem pretty good. And I'm
But
down to roll. I'm down to roll with it. But he does have a line in this episode,
okay.
right when he like she points him in the right direction. He says, "Oh, I made a mistake. My apologies." Tosses her aside. Um, Later on, he's dead set on the whole "I don't make mistakes" thing, and it's like, bro,
Yeah.
we saw you make a mistake in the first episode. What are you talking about? That shit don't add up. That
Yeah.
shit,
I
you met her based on a
on
mistake.
a mistake. Yeah. Pretty much.
Sorry, bud.
Because he was all in on accusing her of this thing, but then he's like, wait, that wouldn't do it. Let me figure out what actually happened. But I'm saying it doesn't seem like, at least so far, any of the other animals have like such a high control of their senses, or
Mhm.
do whatever it is that they want to do
Yeah.
at
And I
that
mean,
extent as his.
she pulls that thing off with her tail, and we don't really see anybody do anything like that either. So
Yeah.
immediately I immediately I got an impression that like those two are definitely on a different level compared to the rest of like society, because
These
the other guys pulled out guns. Why do you need guns if you can if one of them could have just made his horn go big or
I
whatever.
I thought it was at first when they pulled out guns, because he was like, wait, why are they using guns? And I was like, animals using guns? What the heck? I thought they were just gonna be humans in disguise. Because I was like, oh yeah, you're a human dressed up as whatever, a rhino or whatever. And they're just gonna use guns because they're not actually animals. But there's like, no, they're animals. Like, so it does make me question, because these are the only two people that I've seen that have some extra abilities or extra sense higher than everybody else. So I really hope that pays off later. And I know this is episode 1, so whatever. That's what I'm having in my
Mhm.
head now. I'm like, okay, he seems a little OP. What's going on with him? And her, we know now by the end of the episode, because she used to be human, that something is going on with her. So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
that's more believable that she can do this whole thing because something is different about her. For him,
Correct.
I'm like, yo, you're ripping people apart. You're crazy. He ripped off this man's antlers. Like, he's
That
insane.
was brutal. I mean,
Those
even like
horns,
him from from underneath a pile of rubble, he was able to grab the one guy and like toss him up 5 stories into the fire escape for him to
insane.
drop back down, smash on the trash cans.
I am not mad. I am totally cool with him doing that shit, bro. Later on, when he does the rhino horn, I'm here for it. I love this guy. Seeing him
Stands
cry,
on business.
show some emotion, and then what's his line? I wrote it down
I
somewhere.
do it for animal kind. Or
You don't deserve to die by my claws, so have my fists. Bro, he said that twice. But yeah, him, like, the back to the animation. Animation's great during this stuff. It's
Mhm.
not as defined, but every scene like this, uh
It's the
every
style for me.
yeah, it's the style. It's that every single scene can be screenshotted and it looks
Mhm.
cool. Um, but they really show out in some of the fighting scenes, which I really
Mhm.
appreciated.
When the
Uh,
action's there, the action's there.
yeah,
And it's like,
definitely.
I walked into this not thinking it was gonna be action heavy, but we are getting doses, we're getting a pretty good amount of it in this, fish out of water and animal society story, which
Yeah, so
starts to become the bigger plot elements as we move into episode 2.
yeah, because it turns out that Michiru used to be a human. What does that mean? What? Episode 2, Rabbit Town. What happens in episode 2?
Ogami takes Kagomori back to the Beastmen co-op with the realities of her situation and the world she now inhabits beginning to settle in. The Itami, the mink, points Kagomori in the direction of where she can find her stolen wallet, Rabbit Town, where she receives a pretty cold welcome. She is talked into a deal where she will teach kids to read and write in exchange for her wallets. Flip, the gang boss, shows up to Rabbit Town demanding protection money, forcing Grandma to traffic the children and Kagomori to make the money needed for demand. Kagomori gets the kids and herself to safety, with Ogami turning up to make the arrest on Grandma, who gives the wallet back to Kagomori, realizing she really is a human. Kagomori crashes out on Ogami for being late and not accepting responsibility for the chance of them being trafficked.
So this is where, like, after episode 1, it's like, okay, something that I can grasp. We got this fish out of water going to be a beast city to, be with my own kind and figure it out. Then it throws it on its head by saying she used to be human. What's that there? This episode, like, is completely just kind of like blindsided me. Like, I
Mhm.
did not know that it was going to go in this sort of direction, and some of the things that came out of it, it's like, whoa, like we're trying to tell a bigger thing here.
Yes.
It's like,
The
okay.
the episode was going exactly how I felt like it should go, up to the point where it was like the two guys in line start fighting, and Ogami's like, nobody's gonna stop them. This is how it works.
Yeah, like
The
the
strong get
survival of the
their way.
fittest.
So survival of the fittest, and it's very quick to like pivot away from survival of the fittest, and it is more for me. The episode's like a showcase of how do the weak respond and act in a world of survival of the fittest. And it's very on its nose, and she says it like outright that grandma, the weak to survive have to trample the weaker. But it's just like the context that is shown with these orphans
Trafficked kids.
these orphans being trafficked by these ladies who Kagomori is led on to believe are like their children, but it's like, no, they're just, their parents died, so we have them. Their parents died or they got separated, one or the other.
Yeah, and the reason that she wanted her to teach them how to read and write is because they were worth more. Like, yo, I was not expecting that from this group of women animals.
Animals, yeah.
But Grandma was kind
Animals.
of crazy, and she, going off of what you were saying. I mean, we'll get to the action part and some of the stuff at the beginning, but like, yeah, I it was super like, okay, here is how the strong are. And I guess in the society and in our society, I guess males are perceived as stronger, I suppose. And we do see, like you said in the beginning of the episode, there were like males fighting at the line, and that's where that sort of notion is brought up, like the strongest survive, the strongest get by. Later on, grandma says something that caught my attention, where she's like, this is how it is to be a woman living in a beast man world. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot deeper than I thought we were gonna go. And I'm like totally here for it. Like, yo, yeah, like these women are not strong. I mean, they may be strong because they're animals, but like comparatively to the beastman world, yeah, it is hard. So they it feels like they had nowhere to go. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like it adds that sympathetic note to it, because it's like, well, when you think
It's
about
like
it,
you are not bad people doing bad things. You are people doing bad things.
You are people trying to survive. That's what it kind of felt like. And it's like, yeah, you are doing this, but like you are under the thumb of this huge mob boss guy.
Exactly.
And there are
They're
tons of
paying
other
they're
things.
being forced to pay him for protection money. And it's like, if we don't pay you protection money, you're gonna hurt us. What situation does that leave us in?
And it's really heartbreaking.
And even Flip says something at one point, and like once it's revealed that they're not their actual children, I don't know if the line holds up, but Flip says something along the lines of, you sell those kids. It's the only thing that anybody knows you're good for, anyways, as if to imply,
Yeah.
all of you women, the only thing you're good for is creating more children for us to sell or raise to do what we want them to do, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. So yeah, it gets very, again, grandma gets very on the nose about it, but we also have like this 100% fish out of water that thinks like, that's standing there going, don't you have a heart? How could you do these horrible things? And you have this person who's like, honey, if I hadn't done these horrible things, I wouldn't be alive right now.
Yeah.
I'd already be dead.
Mhm.
And this is coming from the person who also said during the very first episode, the thing that's kept me being a cynic is the thing that's kept me alive this long. So it's like, you're a cynic, and yet you're out here being so surprised that people in this city in these circumstances have to do bad things to get by. I don't know, man. I'm okay. I'm all for character development,
Yeah.
but your trait and your response to the situation are kind of, I would feel like she would be like, a more realistic response emotionally for her would be like, I can't believe the systems in this society, in this city,
I
have
mean,
put you in a place to where that is what's happened.
I think
She
she
would still be
does.
upset about the trafficking.
Yeah, I think she does find that out later. I mean, I think she does eventually come around to that idea, but it's not in this instance. Hello, Cosmo, Zaddy Galley, and Poppy Jules teaching us about the animes. OMG, Aminals. Yes, BNA, brand new animals on Netflix. That's what we're talking about, and that's what we're watching. They got some crazy animals in here, man. Some information that we got at the beginning of this episode. One, she's a tanuki, not a raccoon. Two, animals can all be in human form. So animals walk around in human form during the day. Find out she can't. And she was like, yo, I'm ready to be an animal with all my animal buddies. And everyone's in human
Yep.
form.
So immediately, it might be a little like that concept at that point immediately threw into my head this idea that potentially, like back home, one of her parents, if not both of them, is actually just a beast man, and she didn't know, and they didn't tell her because it's a very hard conversation to, because of the show starts off with, oh my god, there's anti-beastmen protests, and people
Yeah.
just even don't agree to them having their own city type deal, all that jazz. So yeah, early prediction is that like one of her parents is a beast man,
That
and
this is the first time that a beast man and a human have made a baby.
or something along those lines.
I buy it. Yeah. And they're
But
like,
also it's just
what?
like, but like, so that's my early prediction. But then we get into the one of the third episode, I think it's the third one, with the reveal of the scientists recognizing her. And so
Mm,
then that recontextualizes that as well into
sure.
other ideas.
She turned into a beast man or a beast a year ago, and she can't turn into human form. We already talked about all this stuff, bro. Her stretchy arms. What is going on with her body? What are we
It's
doing?
in Japanese culture,
Uh huh.
tanukis are like, perceive like have what's it called? There's like stories about them, mythology built around
Hmm.
tanukis having like magical powers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
And
that.
that's why, like, is my first introduction to that concept would have been Super Mario Brothers 3, how you can turn into the little tanuki that can like fly around and stuff.
Yeah,
So it's like that is,
I thought
that
it
for
was a
me was
fox.
It's a Tanuki. And that's why there's like audio clips
Really?
of like Mario saying like Tanuki and stuff like that. Because what
Oh,
he's a Tanuki. He's not a raccoon. He's not a fox. He's a Tanuki.
dang.
So that's
I
why
always
it
thought he was a
gives
little
him like
fox.
magical powers and stuff.
Oh,
hmm
that's cool. He looks like a
So
little
like
fox.
that's why he's literally like, your tail is, if you were a raccoon, your tail would be striped. You're a Tanuki. Sorry. This is like, that's how I'm here to tell you the facts.
Yeah.
But
Sorry to
a
burst your
lot of
bubble.
people have, a lot of people get the two confused because they look so incredibly similar.
Mhm. So she's having some sort of, well, in this episode, they sort of explore that she does not have control of her body all the time, that she can't turn to a human like everybody else. And during times of stress, distress, she does have some changes that happen. This was
When
from
she has
later episodes, but
very
she does,
strong emotions, it seems like
yeah, when she has
becomes
very
the
strong
trend.
emotions. They end up saving the kids. Grandma, and everybody get arrested. Ogami saves them, and she says that she hates Beastmen and wants to cure the disease that she has. So she's very set in her ways in this episode. That changes as we go along, but she's really set in curing this disease. Episode 3, Rhino Melancholy. What happens in episode 3?
Jem, the leader of the co-op, informs Kagamori on the Medsen, a building ran by Silvasta Pharmaceuticals. Kagamori plans on seeing if they can help with her condition. Ogami locks up Kagamori, now accepting he made a mistake and she really was a human. The mayor shows up and forces him to let her out, with Kagamori asking to assist with a bomb threat that they were just discussing. Ogami discovers all the bombs, but Kagamori is caught snooping in the medsen, with one of the scientists recognizing her. An explosion at the tower prompts Ogami and Kagamori to jump to action in response. Ogami detecting nothing at the scene of the crime, going on to deduce that one of the scientists is the culprit. Ogami breaks the horn of the rhino while Kagamori saves herself from a hostage situation, and at an unknown location, an unknown person announces that this city is coming to a juncture.
Oh, buddy.
The
This felt,
road.
the beginning of this episode definitely felt the most web toonish to me, and it felt very chill and silly because the whole locking her up and then having the mayor, right? The mayor, that's what they are, um, come and be like, "What do you got over there? What's going on here?" It's like, Move all that stuff. We got to talk about this." And then
Nope,
it
that's
felt,
actually my bird. He knows how
yeah,
to
the bird.
mimic.
We haven't even
I
talked about the
love the
bird.
bird.
The
Yeah.
bird is the best. I forgot their name though. Uh,
uh, Kudo.
Kuro. That's what
I
they
think it's
say.
that.
That's what, is that something in Japanese? Because
It
that's
might
what they
be.
always say.
Yeah.
Like in whenever there's other little blackbird, like little crows, I guess. It's always
It
like
means
kuro,
black.
kuro. Hmm. Hmm.
It means black.
I love that little guy. He's the cutest. Cute little bird. But it did feel like super chill vibes at the beginning of this episode. I really like it. I really dig it. It's super chill. Good music during all this. But Sylvasta, pharmaceuticals may be able to treat her disease. And then turns out there's a lot of bombs everywhere, bro. There's some people that are doing some shady stuff
Bombs.
in this
Bomb
city.
them. More
So
bombs.
there's multiple bombs, possibly a bomb coming to Sylvasta. They disarmed all the bombs and they go to Sylvasta. But the key point here, the doctors know Michiru, about our little Tanuki here. Do you, the way it made them seem, the way it made it seem was that they hadn't seen her in a long time. Like, oh, that's her? Like they, so like, what is that? I don't know
That
what that
they
means.
that like she was a part of some sort of experiment program, something or rather, to see if the effects of splicing um the two together, because then, in the next episode we get this whole, oh, it's actually, this piece of DNA that separates humans from beastmen, and
Mhm,
at
mhm.
this point they diverge. So it's That's what my brain, the alleys
But
it goes up.
yeah, what do you think that happened a year ago and she doesn't remember it? Or do you think they had her when she was a
I'm
kid, a baby?
we keep getting these like flashbacks interspersed between the episodes, and two of the major ones that like I am looking for the connection on is her friend getting shoved into an unmarked vehicle, first of all. Terrifying, very Gestapo, or very
Yeah.
you know, you know. And then the other thing is with her getting into some sort of like bike crash where her friend was also involved. So those two things make me very like, it draw a lot of intrigue for me as to like what's going on. Is her friend somewhere here in the city too? Is her friend in the tower at Medi Center, being held hostage still? Because her friend seemed to have like turned before her eyes, and then she also started to turn at some point after. So there's there's a lot of questions revolving around her and her friend at this point that I do kind of want to see answered. And then we have this guy talking about, oh my god, I can't wait to see it for my own eyes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what his deal is, and he's somehow also connected to pharmaceutical company. He's like a chairman or something like that. So I don't know. It's just I originally thought it was going to be so like narrow in scope. It was just
Yeah.
going to be this fish out of water trying to find her way in the city. But we are full on in like
World domination,
world domination.
companies.
That like we got factional intrigue type deal. We literally have acts of terrorism being performed, and our characters trying to keep people from being blown to bits. So there's high stakes situations going on, even though the narrative continues to be like not like the energy of the narrative, and our main character Kagamori just kind of like keeps it from feeling tense and high pressure, even though the stakes are high stakes,
Yeah.
low pressure, and low intensity. Does that make sense?
Yes. But that makes me like
I'm not saying
not
that in necessarily a good way, more of
no.
as an observation.
Yeah. And then we got Ogami just breaking people's horns in this thing. It does feel like super small where all the moving pieces are happening outside of where we're following. And I'm sure it's going to come all together at some point. There's going to be some big battle or some big scene or some big revelation. And I'm comfortable in saying that, yes, I'm sure they get to that. But right now, it is just kind of shoestringing us along just enough to keep us intrigued. But while telling this really cute story, sometimes violent story of these two characters that have just met and are trying to live together and trying to put up with each other. Um, yeah, I put Coral. Okay, I have Coral the bird. Yeah, it was just a big fight. The chameleon takes our main character here and says that it was all her fault, whatever that means. As he was like trying to put her over the edge. She's like, "This is all your fault." It's like, "What? What does that mean?" But Sylvasta
I
Pharmaceuticals and
hate
something
that.
else is happening. Yeah, I hate that. What does that mean?
And
What's
they do that in Claire Obscure as well. Small spoiler, Act 1 spoiler.
what do you
Sorry.
mean?
In the game, there's a line where it's like, this is that person's fault, and
Oh,
they don't even
brother,
know. And then there, everybody's going, "What do they mean? What do they mean?" And I'm
there's a
just
lot
like,
more of that.
I know, I'm sure there is. I'm
I
not
don't
even.
even know
That's what I
the
mean.
answer.
I,
I don't know the answer yet.
I know that it's such a small spoiler because of yeah. I'm like 12 hours in, still haven't gotten any further than that in that reveal. So it's an under 10-hour spoiler in a 50-hour game.
We get some information as well while what's his name? Ogami is doing his like time travel thing that each beastman has their own scent. I think that's going to come up to play something later
We
because
established some rules there for sure.
some rules that there's a lingering scent of where people have gone and that each beastman has their own scent and that homie's hands were scentless because he was doing the
And
thing.
so there is a way to get rid of scents.
it seems like still that this is
But even
just
then, no scent is almost more sus than scent being there.
yeah, this just still seems like an OP power, but I'm okay with it because I want them to reveal something about him, how he's connected, how he went through one of these trials or something, or he was there when he was young.
I was about to say I want the Ogami flashback episode to show, like, how did you become
Because
this
we still
person?
don't
How
know
did
him.
you what do they call him? They say he's the social worker for the co-op. So, like, what did you do before this? It's like in uh uh
And
I'm forgetting the name. Sorry. Go ahead.
and the kids from last episode always hear about these stories like the
Silverwolf.
silver wolf will save you if you're in trouble or something like that. Like, oh, you've seen the silver wolf? Oh my god, this is crazy. Like there's stories about this person um that does things, and it seems like it's been passed down because these are just children.
Mhm.
So like how long, and that
How
whole thing
how
at the
how could they
beginning.
say it's been a story that's been passed down for ages if it is Ogami that they're
Yeah.
like, Silver Wolf is, which he kind of looks like a silver wolf.
And still that whole thing in the first episode where he's like, Beastman waited 1,000 years for this. It's like, bro, were you there? Were you were you from the beginning? Were you like one of the original? I don't know. Episode
Vampire
4.
Beast Man.
Episode 4, Dolphin Daydream. What happens in episode 4?
Kagomori is given a history lesson on beastmen through the mayor in what seems like a very rehearsed lecture. Kagomori buys a jailbroken phone that has access to the regular internet and notices a streamer in Anima City. Lisa is posing as a human online and is actually daughter to Flip, the gang leader. Kagomori wills herself into turning back into human and, accompanied by Lisa to Flip's dismay, runs off to attend a party in the human world. Ogami is sent to retrieve the two by the mayor, with Flip demanding her return, threatening to start a war with the humans. Nina remains grateful for their trip despite things going south, and someone appears to be spying on Kagomori and Ogami, as Kagomori remains hopeful that one day she will return to the other world.
Huge lore drop at the beginning. Well, one, she is now a legal citizen of Anima City, so that's great. Um, a lot of explanation about timelines, about how beastmen come to be. Animalized sapiens are a different species entirely, not just human esque or human adjacent. They were a different species. Animals are always one of their parents' animals. They don't become the combination of the animal of parents. Uh, and when she transforms, her DNA does mitosis, so she is different. All this information is cool because they're kind of giving us what I like. I like
Hmm.
when they're like sort of explain some stuff and like
Hmm.
gives me um the world as they see it. I'm like, okay, I'm
Yes.
cool. Whatever. Even if I don't, even if it's like the most outlandish thing, if you're
Yeah.
saying these are the rules, then okay, I will yes and you and
And we
let's
got to a
continue.
point where it was like, okay, like, why are we going to stop giving exposition? And they said, we need more time. It's like, okay, fair enough.
Uh-huh.
So what other shenanigans we got in the meantime before we can get more of what's actually going on? Because
Yeah.
I like the direction that it went with, and it gave us like context to, like, that's something that in some shows they like start off with that. They
Yeah.
go, the show starts and it's like, oh, here's explanation and world building before you get into the story that we're going to tell. This show went, here's the story we're going to tell, and then as we're part way through it, it went, now here's the world building and here's the explanation.
I instantly thought of the Avatar Last Airbender spiel at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah. Yes.
They're like go through like how this happened, the Fire Nation attack, whatever, all that stuff. It's like okay, cool. It sets it up perfectly. Here we are. So that's kind of what it was, setting up how this happens, how this works, and why it's such a big deal that humans are separated from beastmen and why this is the whole thing. Big silly vibes here when she gets kidnapped by the live streamer by the fountain, Nina. And Nina is from the family, a part of the oceanic animals, I suppose, because that whole family, we saw the pelican guy there. She's a dolphin. Flip.
Because
What's the question?
they're the type to work the harbor, I think is the might be
Oh,
the connection.
okay. That's why. If you're a sea-born animal, you
The
are in the
gang works the
mob.
harbor because that's where people go to swim with the fishes.
They're the
You didn't hear that
plot
from you
twist.
didn't hear that from me. You
Plot
didn't hear
twist.
that.
The mob is the fishes, so they're gonna go swimming together. Um,
I
the,
find Nina to be a very interesting character. Um, like how this episode plays out is a very interesting thought piece.
sure. I mean, yeah, it is really. They go to a house party, and she doesn't want to be stuck in this city. She sees the outside world as maybe taboo.
Sparkly and glamorous.
Yeah,
Or Nina
sparkly.
or
Nina.
Kagamori. Yes.
I think Nina sees it as a little taboo, so that's why she's drawn
Drawn
to
to
it
it.
a little bit more in her young age, sort of. They go to this house
And it makes
party.
sense that she would be the only kid, the only Beastman to have access to something like a streaming platform where she would become known and kind of like a star on outside circles.
Yeah,
Because as we establish, oh, there's a firewall and you need a jailbroken phone, an illegal phone to
an
get
illegal
around
phone.
that. Daddy, I want an illegal phone for my
Yeah.
birthday.
While
Okay,
Mink does
princess.
while the Mink does have an illegal phone for, Michiru, that makes sense as well, but yes, it's super easy to have this person that's working for the mob underground to be really popular on the live streaming
Mhm.
platform.
Exactly.
What was it called? Face Look?
Face look or something like
Face
that.
Look.
Yeah, I think.
It's like, okay, cool. Streaming on
Instabook.
Face Look. Yikes. Um, so she receives a lot of praise for coming out and being this person while essentially not seeing what they were doing really. Like they like and appreciate her from afar. Like, "Oh, that's cool, crazy, awesome, dope, whatever. That's cool. Stay away from me still." Like there's never I feel like
We're
she wants to
entertained by
be.
you as this
Oh, I
as
hate
a
that.
visual,
It makes my skin
but I
crawl.
don't want to be something that has to associate with you on a regular basis.
Yeah. It's like I like you for that thing and that only. Do not try to be like one of
And
us.
because I think it's aesthetically so far from what I perceive as normal that I find it entertaining.
Yeah. Which is again another episode like episode 2 where they're kind of
Mhm.
hitting these
But I
hard
do, and then
points.
I like the uh her, it's like it's such a common trope, the two friends have a slight misunderstanding over something, they break away, they get over it, they reconcile, whatever. But it's just interesting to see their friendship put in this dynamic, and then her being the one like, oh, you're jealous of attention. Nina being, you're jealous of attention, Kagamori. If you're so jealous, why don't you just do it? And Kagamori kind of being like, no, it's just something ain't right. Vibes are off, vibes are bad. Is also just kind of like a good, like a parallel for like peer pressure and like being at social gatherings and stuff like that, having, oh, like you're jealous because I'm in with the cool kids, and if you want to be cool too, you should just come do what the cool kids are doing too. And it's like, I'm all good.
Yeah, I'm all
I'm all
set over
set.
here. It's giving like the token mean girls of the high school or something where they're like, yeah, we sure we want that nerdy girl here with the crew. Let's hang out together, whatever. Oh, that's crazy. And then the nerd girl's like, oh my god, this is great. But really, they're like, no, like You're not going to go to the party
You're
with us,
here
or
to make
no,
fun. Well, you're here for us to make fun
you're
of you.
here for us to make fun of you, and that's where we want our entertainment. And they end up, it's kind of insane that they
Yeah,
put her
in a fish tank.
in a fish tank where she can't breathe. I assume she needed to breathe, or she said she wanted salt water, so we put her in salt water to kill her. Like, that's crazy. I mean, that's a
Like,
lot.
I didn't she swim across some body of water with
She did.
Nina Kagamori on her back to get to where they were? Did they swim across a lake? Did they swim across fresh water? Was being in the salt water alone hurting her? Like you said, is it like a they have to resurface type thing? Did they throw her in
I
there and
mean,
seal a lid on top? Like, can't she
dolphins
just like
need to breathe, don't they?
yeah, so like did they seal a lid on top? If not, can't you swim to the top
I
of the
thought I
tank?
saw. I didn't.
Top
I
the
didn't see
tank?
any air atop. That's why I was like, they had this huge thing, and it was just no air.
They
Just
just
filled with water.
tossed her in there and went airtight.
Yeah.
Fill hydro airtight.
And nobody was paying
I
any mind to it.
nobody's paying any mind to it. That's what I think is more the the parallel to, like, even though it's a silly thing, us talking it out, it's a parallel of like, oh well, they said they wanted to do this, so we let them do this, and now there's negative repercussions of them doing it, and I'm just going to stand here and watch them flail and die in front of me instead of trying to help. Overdosing,
Yeah.
so there's definitely a strong parallel there to be
I mean, there's
told.
parallels to a lot of stuff in this episode, which is really interesting. The Mean Girls, the even this yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to it's just like there's bigger human things that, like, when you're talking about
It's a
race or
story
gender,
about animals,
sex.
but it's all too human.
Yeah, it does, because yeah, if you are a part of something that is a minority in whatever sense you want to say it, I mean, there's probably some instance where it's just
Yep.
like, hey, I just want to be like you, and
Yeah.
I am like you, and I just want to do the things with you. And there's this disconnect, and there's this space that is
Yeah.
created
But
by our ideas or by preconceptions that
even as
never make
early
you
as
that.
episode 1, you get the idea that of humans hiring the same animals that are a part of that world to like do harm to it because all they care about is money. And again, like, oh my god, just especially right now after seeing Sinners, a movie set in 1930s Jim Crow,
Sure. Yeah.
Mississippi, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many parallels to draw there as well. And it's just again, like, even if the animation isn't kind of like doing it all for me right now, I'm just enjoying the characters in this show. I'm enjoying the ideas it's presenting and the ways that it's
Yeah.
telling a story that has very complex themes, but it's presenting them in a way that's very palatable and
Yeah.
believable for the character and the context that they're in.
So what do you how do you interpret Michiru at the end, where
Yes,
in the episodes prior she has
had to state it.
said that she wants to be a human. In a lot of episodes, she's like, I want to go back to human. I want to go back to human life. I want to do this. She says she hates beastmen and wants to cure the disease that she has. And now by the end of this episode, because of what the humans have done, essentially, I suppose, she wants to stay and wants to know more about all the animals and anima. Is that like her seeing that humans suck and don't want to be a part of that, or does she just want to see uh the good side of animals? Because she's in now at the end of episode 4, she's seen beastmen be bad, she's also seen humans be bad, but why has she
Exactly.
made this huge change of not wanting to be human just yet, when she
I
could have she changed into a human, so she
Yeah,
could go back to her life?
exactly. She could go back, but I think that especially now after seeing, like, I think it's seeing like what's it called? The way that
Nina?
Lisa, um, is it Nina?
Lisa.
Lisa, the way Lisa was kind of like
Who's Lisa? The dolphin?
Lisa the dolphin. Yes.
Nina. Is it
Nina?
Nina?
I thought it was Lisa. I don't know why I have
You have
Lisa
the subtitles
written
on.
here.
I thought it was Nina.
It might be Lisa, the dolphin girl.
Dolphin.
She,
Her.
I think, is kind of is an example of like the inverse of Kagomori in some ways. And I
Okay.
think Kagomori can see her as like a reflection of this. Like, I'm somebody that was in this world, in the human world, and because of this condition that I have now, I've been forced out of it, and now I have to live in this world. Nina's somebody that grew up in this world, only knows about it, and had a chance to visit the other side, and I've seen how she got treated in
Okay.
the world that I exist in. But I know how I've been treated in the world that I exist in, and I think there's a difference between like everybody in that human world has everything so fine. Like it's the kind of like a have and have nots type situation, to make my point more simple, where she went to the haves and saw how they treated a have not. Like there should be nothing here. It's literally just a person. This is like you invited this person to be here, and this is how you're going to get treated. You're a sideshow. You're an attraction for them. But when when the shoe was on the other foot, like at least at the co-op, it might not all be good, but she has been treated with some degree of like accepting and understanding,
Of the
where
very
when the
unique
shoe was
situation she's in.
exactly when what she just witnessed the shoe being on the other foot, if not one to one to some degree, and saw how like the opposite happens. It's like
Yeah, how the
when
opposite would treat her.
so I think that's like she's at a point where it's like now I have this privilege of returning to that world whenever I want, but right now I have a chance to understand these people more and
Okay.
what more of this world before I go back to whatever it is that's out there, because I know they're not all bad. I know I wasn't bad. I was a human, but I've seen the bad of both now. So
So
I want to
after
know the
this,
good over here before I leave.
yeah, yeah, after this moment, she does know because
There's
yeah,
good and bad.
she
I
was
met
able
me
to turn
good
into a human.
here. It's she's seen the yin and yang of both sides at this point. But now she wants to see more of this side because she's seen so little.
And now that she knows that she has the ability to turn into human, she's like,
I have the
I can go back.
privilege of going back when I want to, and
Yeah,
I
I
don't want to right now.
yes, and I want to discover
And that's okay.
what's the good over here. And I feel like she has had some sort of connection with Koro and Ogami. I mean, I think she sees good in Beast. She's still, I do think that she's still feeling like a fish out of water. Like this is still sort of new. What she ultimately chooses, I don't know. What are some predictions by the end of the season? Big or
Like I said,
small?
I definitely think given all the information that we have up to now that there's something like even like her parents, like she leaves a note telling them that she's going to go, like they knew about her condition, it's implied and stuff, so there's just I don't know, there's got to be something going on with her parents that hasn't been revealed yet, but also
We haven't
it's
seen
been
them, right?
yeah,
We
we
haven't
haven't
seen
seen them. We haven't been given a visual of them at all. But
we
I bet like the second that we're showing them, it's going to be like that dude's a Tanuki or her mom's a Tanuki. You
because we
know,
did see that one thing when it was her birthday. Her mom posted a picture of a cake, but I didn't see her mom. She did see that her mom is caring about her and really
exactly.
wishes that she would see her and happy
So I
birthday.
think that's the really pivotal point when she realizes that like what I have is there, and like I haven't been forsaken for having to go on the journey that I'm on. So I know that that's there. My exit door, I see it, but I want to hang out a little bit
I
longer
know
before
that
I leave.
it's turning it back to Claire Obscure. I know that that route is to the next boss, but I'm gonna vibe and check out all the little stuff first, like
Exactly.
and check every corner for some
Smell the
drops.
flowers for a second.
Yeah. definitely. I do like the idea that both her and our wolf are connected somehow, that they were a part of something because they do seem super OP in what they can do. I think Sylvasta, I think all of these people are a part of Sylvasta. I think there's like one big corporation. All the faces that we see are part of this one conglomerate thing. I
Totally.
don't know if I see like multiple faction yet. Could change in the next 4 episodes, but I think it's just this one global conglomerate that is maybe manufacturing these beastmen to conjure up these struggles, and maybe it's all manufactured, like what they say in the real world, like bad news sells, or whatever it is, like all the bad news on newspapers, that's why you buy it. You don't want to hear about good news, and maybe they're manufacturing that. Maybe they're manufacturing the beastmen somehow, so that we can have this thing and they make more money with war in that way. Might be something like that, I think.
Which, yeah, like, because again, it's why are you? I think the person that is probably hiring and employing all the people to terrorize people trying to get into town and doing that in the town. It's this guy who keeps like looking back and being like, "Oh, ha, 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 10 years, the city, pivotal moment, pivotal
Yeah,
moment coming." It's like,
it's a big one.
who are you? Where are you? What are you doing?
Matt, when we'll talk about episode 5 through 8 next week of BNA. Matt, when you're not trying to live in a BNA world, where can they find you?
You can find me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley, where we also host this podcast live, or on my socials, on Instagram, on Threads at ITS Matt_Galley. Just add an ITS at the front. Jules, when we're not here sniffing around to see the auras of our enemies, where can the people find you?
At JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. On Instagram, been pulling some cards. They look pretty cool. You can find this podcast on either one of our YouTubes or anywhere you get podcast. Next week, we are going to watch episode 5 through 8 of BNA. So watch those episodes. It's on Netflix. Go check it out. Going to continue our watch through this. There's only one season
I
of it,
would
so we will
continue watching
finish.
this after the 4th episode. I would be intrigued enough to want some
Yeah.
answers at this point. As
And
long as the next 4 episodes don't do the fall into the trap of like, oh, we can just kind of like meander and not care about plot reveals because this is the middle section. As long
that's
as it doesn't
why,
fall into a trap like that, I think I'm
and
gonna like this.
yeah, I don't think so, because usually with 12 episode anime, like this is the only thing we have of it. And they did confirm season 2 a long time ago, but it's still sort of up in the air because it hasn't been started production. I think they're going to give us a good complete story, which is why I like watching 12 episode anime, because it's like no bullshitting. Here we are. Let's just do the thing. So watch episode 5 through 8 on Netflix of BNA, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.